You're Cielito, right?
My name's Cielito, yes. Are we on?
We're on, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I want Koon in the conversation.
Oh, no, you first. You first.
One person. I am sitting in the home of Koon, the poet. Koon, what's your last name again? I'm sorry.
Koon Woon.
Koon Woon. And we're in the south end of Seattle, just south of the of I-90 overpass here off Rainier Avenue. Mm-hmm. And this was a delightful surprise. The plan was to meet Mariah at the Space Needle, and when I got to the area of the Space Needle, I called Mariah, and he was at the Greyhound bus station. And so I went to pick him up, and he made a suggestion of coming to Koon's home. And so it's just a wonderful, delightful place. There's just beautiful trees right outside, just reflecting the beautiful sunlight of the summertime. There's birds out there. We've just had a wonderful meal, courtesy of our host. And we're having a fantastic conversation about, I guess in a word, self-realization.
I'd like you to take a picture of that photograph first. There's a story behind it.
Oh.
Okay.
Rocks in the sea.
Yeah, it's the Maine coast.
The Maine coast, okay.
But the reason when you take a photograph of that is he is the son of the lady who was responsible for my poetry success.
Oh.
When I was writing poetry back in 1996, I got a call from Wisconsin because I was editing a little magazine. She wanted to submit some work to my magazine. And I said, I'm not doing it right now, but I'd be happy to look at your work. So she sent me a short story. I said, this is so horrible. Don't send me anything for another 5 years. So she thought that was funny. And we became friends over the phone. And she asked me for some of my poetry to look at. I sent her 20 poems, and she said, I think we can get this published. It's the first place we sent her, Hawaii. They said, we don't accept original work, we only take translations from China. Then we sent it to Kaya Press in New York. They took it after 2 months consideration. And then that book is called The Truth in Rented Rooms. It came out in 1998. And it's sort of the demarcation point of my mental illness and coming into wellness again. So 1998, gave me enough confidence to go back to school. And although it's still taking me time to get through school, I'm a graduate student at Fort Hays State University in literary arts. And my second book just came out early this year. And so I'm very thankful to Betty Preby and her sons.
So, water, chasing water. Okay.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Nice book.
Yeah. So. And that was the thing that held me together for many years, just writing poetry. And so now I'm at the point that I'm able to pay back a little bit to people who helped me along the way. I'm doing that through poetry, helping people just express themselves and get in touch with the inner feelings or the struggles. And in the same way that I've been through so many psychiatrists trying to discover who I really was.
Now, before this, your life was in college as a math major.
I was a math major until my mid-20s, and I realized I couldn't do it anymore because no matter how hard I try, I just keep getting bad grades, and I didn't realize I was going off the deep end. I was becoming mentally ill. I was depressed. I was anxious.
Well, what was the diagnosis?
Eventually, it's called. I have various diagnoses. They don't have it completely right yet, but it's called schizoaffective right now, mm-hmm. which means it's sort of like between schizophrenia and bipolar illness. Mm-hmm. So it has characteristics of both illnesses, but not either one completely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with the medication, though, I can think, well, my GPA in graduate school is 3.75. And so with the medication, I feel like I'm a normal person. Mm-hmm. But I do have, I can only take so much stress. So it's the main thing that prevents me from living like, most people do. But I was able to get married for 5 years, and My wife and I just separated. We're still good friends. She was also mentally ill, and so there's a lot of stress when two people with this kind of problem get together. So anyway, that's essentially how it wraps up. But long before I was a poet, my uncle in China read and told me stories about ancient China, about what's right and wrong. So I learned from him, how to value the literary life. Not so much I learned the techniques from him, but I learned how to have that kind of spiritual quest like you through literature. Literature is usually about more than the immediate things, more than the present generation, more than what the government's doing, more than what's in the marketplace. It's something of lasting value. That's what great literature is.
Well, and you create lasting value through food as well. You've worked in restaurants.
Yeah. Well, it's something that I was, born into, and my family had the restaurant. I started working when I was 12 years old, and so it became second nature. I can go to somebody's home. I've never been to the kitchen before, and in the afternoon I could put a dinner out for several courses for several people. So I just learned it's just like you've been doing your academic work, you've been talking to people, interviewing people. After a while, it becomes second nature. You don't feel any kind of embarrassment. You don't feel, you know what the boundaries are. You just know how to approach people correctly, how to get the most, how to get people to reveal themselves, and it's a skill that you learn. If you learn it early, then it becomes very much part of you. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Thank you. And you're involved in both the film community to some extent and the reappearance of Maitreya. And you combine both of those in your life.
And I've been on your program, Mariah, and ask me a question.
Well, how do you combine both the Maitreya aspects and the film production aspects?
Well, my spiritual beliefs and my conviction that the one that is expected as the Christ, the one that is expected as the Buddha, the Messiah, the Imam Mahdi, the Krishna, is all one and the same person and is in the world today, gives me a context of hope, very simply. That's the simplest answer. And so it's easier to look at the world and not feel defeated. I think I'm as idealistic as I was when I was, 18, 15 years old, because I can see past the turmoil. And there's a lot of difficult things that are happening in the world, but when one can see behind it and understand what the energetic process is taking place, it's not hard to want to make it a better world through film or through my other business endeavors. And so helping people to be empowered in whatever it is that they choose to do is important to me. And I can do that because I have a sense of hope for the future. If I didn't, I would probably seek a certain level of security that's a standard issue in our culture right now.
So it seems like film is for you what poetry has been for Koon.
Well, film is it's self-expression, obviously. Any form of art is self-expression. In film, people have to come together in a group. And in this day and age, it's the energies of the age of Aquarius, from Piscean individualism to group unity, essentially. That's the hallmark of the age of Aquarius. It's a practical approach, not this airy-fairy idea. Everything, whether it's globalization or whether it's activist groups coming together across the globe through the internet, or it's a film crew coming together to create a film. It's that synthesis of creative minds and the challenge of bringing people together in consensus on a film set. That's a lot of fun.
And that's kind of what I'm doing myself.
That's what you're doing on the road and
Yeah.
meeting people and documenting who you're meeting and having us share our stories, which
Yeah.
is very, very cool.
And I mean, I'm doing this also. I mean, this was a spontaneous effort, but I've found that compared to a 3-hour radio show, which requires structure and planning and a great deal of preparation for that, this is a 5 or 10 minute video. Requires no preparation, completely spontaneous, and I actually get better content than I would maybe in a 3-hour space, which is amazing to me. I can get such great results just from a spontaneous, fly by the seat of your pants effort.
Mm-hmm.
And the reappearance of my Atreya for you, I mean, you teach at, or you give classes at libraries, right?
I give talks twice a month at the Seattle Public Library and the King County Library, and essentially it's like I call it a message of hope fair. It's like a mini New Age fair or spiritual fair, and I have a display and video and free literature, and it's such an interesting process because I don't aggressively get people to get into that room. Mm-hmm. People are drawn in. They see a sign by the door. It says the awakening of humanity. Now, A, you either are intrigued by that and you go in the door, or B, you go and return your library books and pay your overdue fines or whatever. And so the people who come through the door, to me, are they're responding from the soul level. And so I have tremendous respect for anyone willing to find out what it is, what's going on in this room. Mm-hmm. And I share what I know. And for some people, it's totally new information. For other people, they're like, that makes sense. Oh, I've heard of this and this and this, and I can connect that with what I know. And I'm just happy when people are open and curious. And when people come in, they say, what is this about? And I just say, it's a message of hope. And go from there.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, that's what I've noticed as well. Just by visiting people in different places, people come to me. And it's all because, based on the books I've written and my academic accomplishments and the radio show, I seem to bring hope to a lot of people without even planning on it. I just enter, be in the space, and magical things seem to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think that brings hope to a lot of people, that if you just if you allow things to happen, but you have the right preparation as well, then you can get miraculous results.
And you miraculous, Mariah. You're creating a container
Yes.
for that to happen. And so when